Unscripted.
Unshackled.
Uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for mature audiences only.
It's Miguel Fuller.
Holly O'Connor.
And Scotty the Body.
It's the Miguel and Holly Uncensored podcast.
Only on Hot 101.5.
What you got in your mouth, Scott?
Some nuts. They're so
Hey.
good, too. I got to stop getting, like, the lightly salted. Because when you get the plain, it's not that addicting.
No.
But I think I got that bag yesterday. I'm about to finish it.
The salt, because it makes your mouth like moisturize it a little more. If it's just plain nuts, after a while your mouth is like,
Well, that's what I need. Like, I don't need that many nuts. Like, I eat nuts for the fact that I just need the healthy fats.
I know.
And then it's like,
Same.
okay, well. And now I'm like, it's supposed to be 5 servings. I'm now making it 2. I had some yesterday.
And then in your head you're like, it's just nuts.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, nuts have a lot of calories in those suckers.
I know.
But I'm not really worried about the calories. It's more so like, all right, you just bought these and now you're about to finish them.
I mean, I'll have a nut.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like
No?
nuts.
You had a nuts? All right.
You don't like your fiance likes nuts.
He does.
He
likes-
loves nuts.
Wait, so the ones that I buy for him, are those not healthy?
No, they are. Well, I mean, again, anything with salt is not. You can always lean away from it. We have so much salt intake that it's not that healthy.
It can cause weight gain. So like my person will get upset if he gets on the scale and it's like, let's say we have a weekend and we're not strict on the weekends, not as strict. Like we still follow the basic guidelines of the health plan that we follow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we're pretty lax about it on the weekend. So then he'll get on the scale Monday and he'll be like, and then he's like, I gained like 4 pounds. And I'm like, so then one day I'm like, I try to come up with what it could be because I'm a problem solver. And I'm like, I think it's the salt. And he's like, it's not salt. And I'm like, no, I think it's salt.
It could, yeah.
So we did a trial one day or whatever where, and he does like, he made his lunch, like he'll do like ground chicken. He'll do like 3 pounds of ground chicken on a Monday, just cook it up with like seasonings, a lot of salty seasonings. And then for lunches every day, he's got like a bowl of ground chicken with, he would put a little container of guacamole. He cuts up a big old tomato and put hot sauce, and that's his lunch. So he started making it different, where he's like not using as salty of seasonings anymore. He's not using guacamole. He's just using avocados, whatever. And so that, and then we did some other salt cutting back procedures because like you don't realize the salt that you eat or the food that you eat has a lot of salt in it already.
Yes.
Bitch lost like 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Because
That water.
if you're drinking water, even if you're eating salt, like if you're eating salty foods and you're drinking water, the salt is still there. But when you're drinking water and you're not eating as much salt, your body's like, oh, I don't have to hang on to this water.
Right. I can
Because it's going to just keep coming in and it literally weight just drops off of you. It's bizarre. The salt can do this.
Yeah.
There's just so many things when it comes to food and weight loss, things like that no one ever talks about.
Yeah, no,
That
I
it's
know.
like you don't know unless you actually sit down and like
Do some reading,
the
yeah.
research. Absolutely.
Yeah, those are like the 2 main ones, like salt and sugar, man. Those things are evil, but it's in everything. It's in so much. And that's why it's hard to like honestly avoid it. You got to make a very conscious decision to be like, all right, like I've literally started like going they always say like go around the perimeter of the grocery store. Like that's like your Whole Foods and everything that's like going to be the healthiest
Fresh.
for you. That's like how I go in now because I'm like, okay, like I know the outside, that's the safe zone.
Yeah.
Anything in the in, like it's going to mess me up.
Except at Publix, where right before the deli, usually there's the bakery.
Oh, yeah.
And
those
so
cookies
you've got to
look at me every
like,
time.
they probably think I stole something. Like the way I run through the bakery just to get to the deli. Cause I'm like, no,
You won't
Brent.
get me.
No.
And like, I'm sorry, but it smells so
Oh my
good.
God.
Yeah, I feel like they do like Disney does, and they like pump out the scent
Yes.
from the roof.
Yes.
I know. And you're
Come
just
on,
like,
they know what they're doing.
I could use one of these little pies.
Right. And then they make it so like you don't feel too guilty because then they'll have like a slice of a brownie.
Slice.
And you're like, well, it's just one slice. I mean, it's just a little treat for myself. 5 slices later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
or
why I
it's-
don't like to have anything around because I will go 5 slices deep. I go all in if I'm gonna do it, so I can't do it.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
We got a couple of messages that I want to get to.
Messages.
There's one that's just basically a thank you. This is a Tasha. She said, "Hi, Miguel and everyone. I'm still behind and I'm currently listening to the Paniversary episode of the podcast."
Like the pandemic anniversary?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
It is so crazy that it's been a year
Yeah.
of COVID times. I'm glad you guys did a reflection episode and how your lives and everyone's lives changed because of COVID. With all that has happened, is happening, I forgot all the things that happened in a year's lifetime. Anyways, my point of emailing you is to say thank you. COVID is the reason why I started listening to you guys. Thanks, no thanks, COVID. You guys made my working from home days fly by.
Oh.
I look back forward to listening to your podcast because I enjoy your banter and the laughs you provide. Thank you for sharing your life with me. P.S. I do not mind if you want to share this on air. Love, Platypus member Tasha.
That is so
Yay!
nice. Thank you, Tasha.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
And
I'm really glad we could, like, I don't know what we're doing now with our lives, but I'm just so glad that we could be such a help to people in the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's like a shining point of my career, I feel like.
I think that one of the goals when we first walked into this radio station for me personally in 2015 was to win Best Local Morning Show by Creative Loafing because it's voted on by you, the reader, the people here in Tampa Bay.
It's the people.
We're the people. Not like some industry thing where it's like radio people judging other people. It's you who actually consume the product that we put out every day. And like I've told the story a few times before that when we worked at another radio station here in Tampa in 2011, and one of the first few days I was on the way to work at that now defunct radio station, I remember Creative Loafing had come out with their Best of the Bay for 2011 that year.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, my gosh, I hope that one day we can feel like we're a part of the community, that we can feel the love and that we can give the love and we can receive the love back and have the symbiotic relationship. And we did that thanks to you. But like you, Holly, especially those like, because I mean, obviously in other places in the country, things were closed down for longer and they're still going back and forth. But for us here, really, it was those first 3 to 4 months when everything was closed. We didn't know what was going on. And we took the podcast to 5 days a week. If we got fired today, tomorrow, I feel like I can say we did everything we could to serve our audience here in Tampa Bay.
100%. Like, I'm happy with what we've done.
Right.
I don't even know what else we could do that would top that. And it's weird because they interviewed me for like like you were talking about, like an industry online thing. It's like a women forum type of thing where they interviewed me and asked me some questions, and they were like, what have been like your shining moments? I don't remember the exact question. And I've seen some other women and have seen their replies, and they have good replies. Like, radio has allowed me to interview celebrities on the red carpet at the billboards. And I'm like amazing. And I'm like, my answer is a little bit morbid, but radio has allowed me to help in times of crisis. And those are my favorite radio moments, which sounds weird. And I totally understand that. But what I talked about in the article was, the first instance of this that I experienced was in 2005 when I had just started my radio career and Hurricane Katrina hit. Now, we were in Ohio, right? It's not like we were close to Louisiana, but we're watching this. And my boss, Dave Crosser, was like, we have to do something. This is what we do. This is what radio does. So he organized this drive and it was a tiny, tiny little town in Ohio, not even a rated market. And we got together with the other radio company, which you never do. Like,
no,
radio companies don't come together. Like, we just do our own thing. Like, you've got this company, this company, this company, maybe one mom and pop over here. And we're all just like, bye. I don't even know what other radio company. Like, we probably don't see each other. Like, we're friends with some of these people in Tampa Bay. That's cool. But the companies themselves would never come together, but they did in this little town. And we put on all radio stations in the town came together and did like a week-long drive. I mean, we stayed out like overnight. Like, I had to take overnight shifts at this thing, and we collected food and everything. And it was then that I was like, oh, this is what we do. So that, and I got that same feeling in the pandemic where I was like, I'm all in. What do you need? What do you need as a community, and how can we help? And so that's, to me, the highest crowning achievement that we could get in radio.
Right.
Just being able to serve in that way.
And I think too, just creating a community.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah.
because of social media, because for you, Scott, this is what you know is like social media being such a big part of what we do, where, before it was like a slow trickle in for us where you had a community, but there wasn't a place to really house it because people didn't use social media the way that they do now.
Yeah, it was difficult for the people to be in it together.
Right, exactly. And so now, all these years later, with what we've built here, that we have this community that they communicate outside of us on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. And there's like pockets of community of Miguel and Holly fan members and Platypus Posse members that communicate with each other. And so that to me is like, that is what I love, is building community and making people feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah.
And so to me, that also has just been really cool. So thank you, Tasha.
Yeah. Bringing up all that.
We appreciate it. Now we have some advice.
Oh, is it constructive criticism?
No. I'm sorry. They need advice.
Oh.
Sorry. I didn't
I
phrase
was
it
like,
correctly.
okay, I'm right. I'll put my sensitive panties off.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you can take them off. Nope. Yeah, they need some advice. This is,
I love giving advice.
Robert, okay? He said, "Hi, Miguel. My name is Robert. I'm 24 and live in Tampa. I'm a fan of the podcast. I love you guys. And I want to say thank you all for brightening up my day. I'm emailing you because I don't know if you, Holly, or Scott help fans out, but I was wondering if you could help me. I'm a college music education student at Hillsborough Community College, planning on transferring to USF.
Boom, go Bulls.
Throughout college, I've been nervous and still feel like a fish out of water. The reason I said that, I still haven't made any friends yet. I was wondering if you guys had any advice or if you've been in this situation before, and how do you handle it? Thank you, Robert." So he's basically asking, still feels like a fish out of the water after being in college at Hillsborough Community College, and now they're going to USF.
Yeah.
So Scott, I mean, you as a person who graduated from USF, you can speak to what that particular campus life is like, because I think Holly and I come from the same place when it comes to how to actually do that sort of thing. But for you, who was actually on USF, how do you do that?
I mean, it depends on how quick you're going over there. But I mean, as soon as you get there, you're going to see there's a ton of things that are just happening right away. And that's how I met my first friends at USF, is like they had like a little ice cream social in the downstairs lobby of where I was like living. And in the beginning, like full honestly, I was like, this is stupid. I had that, like young, immature mindset. I was like, I'm not going to go down to an ice cream social. How lame. I'm going to go party, get drunk. Well, I decided, I was like, you know what? I was literally like, my parents just left and I was all alone. And I was like, let me just go. And as soon as I went down, I saw a buddy I went to like school with, but we said our what's up. And then I met another dude that I actually went to orientation with. And when you transfer over, you'll go to transfer orientation. I worked with a lot of those people over there too. And their whole job is to help you connect with a group. And so when you do transfer over, if they do the in-person orientation, that group that you're in, make connections with those people. Like, or at least get one number or one like Instagram to be like, all right, as soon as we get on campus, like, hey, let's go hit up the MSC. Let's go get some food together. Let's go study together. Because as long as you have one, that comfort starts to come a little bit more and you have more comfort to go find two. And then also, if you are like, let's say, if you're not living on campus, what I always used to say as an orientation leader, like stay on campus, like as long as you can. Like if you're not living on campus, at least stay on campus and hang out. Go to the little events that are happening on campus. There won't be a lot of people at first, but you'll at least meet a couple people that are trying to do the same exact thing that you're doing. That's meet more people. And so once you have that little community, you have a reason to stay. And so as long as you're staying on campus, eating on campus, studying at like on campus, you're going to find friends. And as long as you go to the little club events and find things of interest, you'll find at least a good group of friends to kind of build off of.
I think don't force it either. Because like, let's say you find one person and you grab their Insta or text number to text them or whatever, and you hit them up a couple times. It's a little like dating.
Yeah.
Where, let's say you hit them up and you're like, hey, let's grab coffee and talk about our class or whatever. I don't know. And you do this 2 or 3 times and you're not getting too far. Like, time to go try somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
don't hang on to them too long if they don't want the same thing that you want.
Yeah. And maybe they're not in a place where they can do that right now or whatever, but you kind of treat it like dating a little bit where if you're getting vibes like, why isn't this person responding to me? Why aren't they my friend? Like, that's not your friend. Go find another friend. So I would just suggest, it should happen sort of organically. Once you put that out that you do, like Scott said, you've got to get out there and do it. and like get people's Instagram handles and do send them messages. Be the person. But then also if there's a rejection situation where you tried to like grab lunch with this potential new friend and it's not working out, do not take that to heart, because that person may not have been meant to be a friend anyway.
Yeah, they got their own other ish going on
thing, and that's okay.
Right.
But I would say just keep trying, because it's not a reflection of you. It's just not meant to work out with that person.
And you said that you are a college music education student. And I'm not sure if you're planning on doing that when you're at USF, but I am such a big proponent of joining organizations that are hobbies or what you want to do professionally, because you're going to meet people that are like-minded of you. And I met a bunch of people that I still see and talk to today that were involved in radio or in newspapers or in media in some form or fashion. And we all sort of had the same type of way of thinking about life. And we would just sit around and just talk about, oh my gosh, what will it look like when we're older, or when we want to get into these jobs? And then we form these friendships and we would hang out and we became lifelong friends. And so just joining organizations that are of interest to you, whether it's music or whatever it is that you're interested in. Because I mean, I'm sure like with any college, Scott, there are a million and one organizations on campus that you can find. I'm sure the resources of being able to find them is just endless.
Yes. Yeah, there's a ton. And you'll see, they used to have a thing every Wednesday. They would have a bunch of organizations out for bull market, where it's like literally you could just go up. They have tables there for you to interact, learn some information, and actually, walk away with something valuable. And that happens literally every week. Hopefully they're still doing it with everything with the pandemic, but I think they should be.
I think I was wanted to tell my friends, my college friends, that I want to plan like, because we usually have like 2 things that we do every year, where we do like our cruise every summer, which we haven't done in 2 years now, or we go to Atlanta Pride, which has been canceled this year, but we're still going. But I want to try to plan in the next couple of years, like an off weekend where we go to Savannah, because that's like an hour out from our college town. And I'd love to like go just have lunch with the old group and just go see the city, because it's been so long since we've experienced together. And I feel like that would be so fun to just sort of be in those surroundings again. I'm in this group on Facebook, and it's like Georgia Southern. And of course, this is my college. Like, it's not like a alumni of Georgia Southern University. It's party pictures of Georgia Southern from 2000 to 2008. And I'm like, why just got to be party pics?
Because it just is.
Right. That's it. That's all. We're like, woo, girl, remember when Legends was around with Ace from The Real World? Remember when they used to like squeegee alcohol during ladies' lock-in nights? And it was a whole big controversy. And it was like, why can't we be like, oh my God, remember when we had this? No, it's just partying. That's all it was.
Yeah.
As you were talking, I remembered I got a text from one of the girls that I was in my sorority, and she goes, "Hey, I'm going to Northern's homecoming. Have a hotel room for 2 nights if you want to come."
Oh.
And I would love to go. I've never gone to any homecomings for anything ever. And so I'm like, I don't know though. Like, first, it's in like a month. It's like October 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So I'm like, I just don't know if I can even take the time.
Holly's like, oh, girl.
Like, it's just a lot. But like, would I love to go bust up into Ada and like go to the Beagle? Yes. Notably, I want to see if there's still green food coloring on the bar floor, where my one friend Kristen and I had brought green food coloring with us to the bar on St. Patrick's Day, and we're dyeing everybody's drinks green.
Oh my God.
We also brought a box of Lucky Charms. I mean, it's a conversation starter. But anyway, like, I'm like, oh man, I do want to go. I think it's like some anniversary too. It's not, maybe not, I don't know what it is, but like, I would love to do the same thing. Like, go back to your college town and just see what's going on.
Now, I wonder, like, because Scott, obviously USF is in a big city in Tampa. I wonder, do you lose some of the charm? Because like in our town, and Holly, in your college's town, like that was it. Like, we were the epicenter.
The college was the town.
Like that was it.
When the college was not in session, there was like 1,000 people.
Right. Like, yeah, there was nothing there in Statesboro outside of Georgia Southern University.
Right.
So like going to a college, a university in a big city
where there's like, I can't imagine. There's like a school building, and like across the street is like a building in Tampa.
Right.
What?
Like, how did that feel? Like, did you feel like this cohesive, like we're all together type deal?
And well, when I was first going to school, I wanted that feel. I wanted the college town. And that's why it was a little rough going to USF. But what ended up happening is like you create it in your own ways. Like you have your sections that are like that. The harder thing with USF is you have a lot of commuters. But luckily they're changing a little bit of the culture where a lot of people are now living on campus and all the apartments are around. So it's like those are the places you went. So we had college places. But yeah, it was a little weird. I don't think it was as, I think there's a cool feel with the college town when it's like everybody right there. You're just all in college.
You're like in your own community.
That would be really cool. Yeah. And we didn't really have that. But again, like it almost feels like now, especially like living over in like the Pinellas side, it's like it almost feels like USF is just a whole section. And now that it's like USF St. Pete, USF the Sarasota Manatee, like there's all these different groups that, you find your own little section. And USF Tampa did the best that it could with, at least the surrounding area. Like that's all college. And the bars that I used to go to, like specifically just college in that little section. But it's hard. I mean, it's like you get the feel because you have over 50,000 students, but you also lose the feel because you have over 50,000 students.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I can't wrap my head around that. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, but it's also like there was parts of it that were really cool. Like you could do a lot of cool things together, like when I was going there, the football team was amazing. And so you had like a ton of people filling up Raymond James. Oh, now we're not doing so.
Raymond James.
Like that's your football stadium is Raymond James.
That part's bittersweet. Like I was always a fan of like, I wanted a stadium on campus because I think it would be so cool for you to be like in your residence hall.
The band would march
walks
through.
out.
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing shots while you walk over and it's like completely safe. So they did their own way of having buses transporting you, everything like that. But again, it's
just different.
It is different. Like you can't really fill up Raymond James. Like that's real hard to do.
Right. That's what I've always wondered about that. Because I mean, even though like I didn't participate in any of the sports programming at my school, I still loved like the after parties or like the lead up to it.
Yeah.
And like you would still go to different parties and whatnot. And you could just feel the energy in the city change on those days when something big was happening.
Yeah,
and
it's all around your school.
Right.
It's sweet.
It almost felt like you were playing like Play Real Life in like a small city where it's like, you get to, because when we had this like hostage situation at a law office in downtown Statesboro.
I don't mean to laugh, but like every time the hostage situation comes up, I just feel like here we go. Let me settle in.
It was like we were on the ground as like literally informing the city as our college radio station.
Oh my gosh.
Where like if something happened in like downtown Tampa and you're like coming from the college radio, the Bulls radio, they're going to be like, bitch, we got Tampa Bay Times, Channel 13, bye.
Who's on your side is here.
Right. Whereas, like, we were it. Like, me being there, reporting the facts. Like, we were informing the city what was going on.
That
you
is
weren't
really
doing
cool.
that good of a job because at one point were you like, there's a bomb, and they had to like rein you in. Like,
that was like at the beginning of the day when we weren't like really thinking about it, and we were like, well, we heard there's a bomb at Walmart. And they were like, no, there's not. You can't. Literally, the FBI called and said, please retract that. You cannot say statements like that you do not know about.
Learning on the fly.
Yes. But it was a great training ground because you got to go through those experiences in that way and learn about life and like have that like really cool so like a warm blanket almost feeling of being in a city like that when you're in college.
It's like adulting light.
Yes. So I'd love to like go and experience that, but I've always wondered what it would be like to be in a city like Tampa, or when I go home and they have Georgia State University, which has grown and it's like, a big part of downtown Atlanta on what that would have been like to sort of be in a city like that.
Yeah, I went and visited like the Ohio State campus once as like I was visiting. What were we there for? I don't remember, but it was like a friend had gone there and like it was very overwhelming to me.
Is it in? I don't know where it is. Is it like in
Columbus? It's in Columbus.
Oh, okay, I know that.
So it's like also in a city, and Ohio State is obviously massive.
Yeah.
The Ohio State University, but it's like that. It's like there's pockets. Like my friend had friends, and that was just their friends. That's it. And then there's like a bajillion other students like all across the city, and they're all different. It's all crazy, and I just felt like that was that I could not have done. I personally don't think I could have done a school like Ohio State or even like USF. I needed that small campus. I flourished there. I loved college, and I don't know how it would have been if I probably would have made it through, but I think it was too overwhelming for me considering how sheltered I was in high school.
Right.
Yes,
right.
That's true. And we've had a lot of students. Guys, I remember I would take students through the campus and it would be overwhelming. And I went through and I wanted that big campus feel.
Yeah,
I
and
wanted
some people do.
thousands of students, and that's what you get there. But again, it quickly becomes a small campus. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's
that's
you're
true.
on there and
you
it's
get little pockets.
yeah, it's okay, I know I have 55,000 students in the school total, but you know what? I have my little 15. Or you start going to your smaller classes where it's I remember going to my lecture halls and be 250 people in one room. And then by the end of it, I'm in a room of 15. And I'm all right, this is cool. I'm in my little niche. I'm in my little pocket. So it does start to have that smaller feel as soon as you kind of get it. So it's as overwhelming as it is in the beginning, it slowly kind of trickles down and it's not too bad. Unless you start going to hitting up every event possible and seeing new faces everywhere you go. But eventually you start seeing the same faces over and over. And you find your little section of the campus.
And I would say too, if you are someone that's in high school or, you're thinking about going to college and you want that experience, but you're sort of where Holly was after high school, you're kind of shy. I loved my 2-year school experience as well. I would have wanted to go to a 4-year school and just dive into the big campus, but I had to go to a 2-year school. But this is one of the times where I say, when we've talked to Stacy about past lives, I had some wisdom that I look back at myself now and I'm how the fuck did you know to do that and to make that decision? Where did that come from? Because one of my things when I realized I had to go to a 2-year school, I was I got to go to a 2-year school that has on-campus housing.
Yeah, because that's wise.
I wanted to be a part of the campus life, and I knew that back then, but I was I've got to live on campus because there were so many cheaper options right around where my mom and grandma live where I could have just commuted there. But I was I want to get the college feeling, even though I'm going to a 2-year school. And I don't know if they have that in Florida, but I do know in Georgia, they have, there's 3 or 4 smaller, these are the public colleges, public 2-year schools where they have campus housing. But that to me is a big thing. Like you said earlier, Scott, of living on campus, or if you want to live close to campus, just to get that vibe.
Yes.
You need it.
Nothing like a Friday night, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday night on a college campus when
Tuesday.
Everything. Any night.
Every day of the week.
We had Tuesdays. That was our big day.
Ours was Thursday night at Georgia Southern. But just being in that atmosphere just helps you feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you always have things to do and you won't miss out on things. That was the biggest thing. I had friends that would live an hour away and it's they can't hang out long. Or I used to have friends that would just crash with me. I literally just crash right there on the floor, or I'll let them take the bed or a couch, let them just hang out for a little bit. But that's what I say. The biggest thing is just be on campus for as much of it as you can throughout the day. Because you're going to want to go home. You're going to be I got nothing here. But again, that's when you find a lot of people that are I feel I have no connection here. Well, you got to put in a little work to get the connection. And then once you do, it's a home.
I have to take this phone call real quick, but I wanted to talk about for a few more minutes about Labor Day weekend.
Okay. Okay. Get your phone call. Labor Day weekend stuff. What are you talking about?
What'd you do for Labor Day weekend?
Our plans are what we did.
What we did.
Oh. Well, we talked about it on the air. I feel I already talked about it, but so here's what I did. Thank you, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, it's live.
Yeah.
So I went to Orlando, and I feel bad every time I say this because it's starting to be this running joke. I don't do anything besides sit at my house or go to Orlando. Whatever. We have to go to Orlando because my mom lives with me, and she has no boundary. She does not know how to be a separate human from me, and that's a whole psychological thing. But so to get away and not have someone's parents on them, we got to get out of town. So what's the quickest and easiest and cheapest way to do it? You go to Orlando.
Right down the I-4.
Right down that corridor. So we go, and we had an extra Disney pass because we took Maya to Disney this summer, which I keep looking back on that so fondly. I don't know if I'm starting to romanticize it or whatever, but I'm just that was such a pivotal trip for her. It was her first big Disney trip. And I think I just love that we got to take her. So we did 3 days. but they were 4 days on the card. So we were like, okay, saving up this extra day for Labor Day. We're going to drink around the world at Epcot.
Yes.
It was so much fun. And I feel like we like held on to our shit all together.
I was going to say, like, that is very hard. I don't know how many places you stop, but like, you get like halfway through and I'm like, I'm done.
And it depends on what you drink at each place too. And you got to pace yourself. Like you can't just like dash through them and like doing shots or whatever.
No.
But it ended up being really good. So like we started in Canada and we started out like super easy. We like shared an ice wine, which is like 2 ounces. And then we just slowly moseyed along. And at no point was I ever like wasted. I was drunk. And we ran into some people that were funny. It was like this other couple. So it was my person and I, and obviously our kids were with their other parents. So we're like, no kid weekend.
Yeah.
We were waiting to go into the Las Cavas or whatever, that Mexican tequila bar in Mexico.
Yes.
And we're waiting in that line. And there's a couple behind us who looked about our age. And they were like kind of just talking with each other kind of loudly. And they were like, well, the kids. And we're like, oh, no kids for you either. And they're like, no kids. So we made this little couple friend.
Oh, cute.
And they were pretty tipsy. And so we said bye to them. We did our tequila shots. And then we ran back into them because we were going to go back. We were actually almost going to be leaving. And there was some like Latin explosion band playing at the little bandstand in America.
Oh,
the country.
yeah.
And I heard them playing Walk the Moon from like Italy. And I'm like, shut up, Ed! This is when you know I was starting to get
I'm
very
feeling
drunk.
it. Yep.
I'm shouting,
Yes.
and I'm like, let's go watch them.
Oh.
So we go, and then that same couple was right there, and she was like dancing, and I'm like, yes, girl.
Get it.
And they had moonshine at the place in America.
What the heck?
I know.
Oh, wow, that's
Oh,
some Tennessee.
That's
Jeez.
Come
what I
on
know.
now.
They had some really good whatever. We had like a really good moonshine drink. It tasted like gummy bears. And so
Oh.
then I had like 2 of those.
Oh, moonshine. Ooh,
Girl, that will put you down.
Well, it's actually funny. So we
Here's what's funny.
here's what's funny. So we're hanging out with this other couple, and like me and the other lady were like dancing, and I was like, I'm in my Holly zone where I think I'm the
Oh.
best choreographer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I am a good choreographer.
You are.
For the
Oh,
record.
yeah.
But we're in the seats, and like, so wait a minute, I gotta show you.
Oh.
So we're doing our thing and they're dancing, and they went from playing like some pop hits to like suddenly they're doing all like Latin music. So my white ass is over here and I'm like, I'm doing my like thing.
Oh, gosh.
I'm like this way, step that way. I'm like, and I'm like doing, and then like me and her are dancing.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, dip. And like we went bananas. This other lady came over and she was like,
yeah.
oh my God, you are giving me life
Oh,
right
I
now.
love
And
that.
I was like,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't stop dancing.
It's called the palm
I
tree.
gotta go. Like I was giving it all I had.
Yes.
They played for half an hour. So I mean, I was fucking dancing for half an hour.
God, I would have been drenched.
Isn't that amazing? Like, I feel like if we were all younger, people would have been like, oh, why is that girl like dancing?
I
like that?
know.
But I love it as adults, especially I find with people with kids, they give 0 fucks when they're out
Yes.
and they're like, you too, girl, you too, me too. Yes,
We're
bitch,
dancing.
let's get it.
I have a selfie on my phone with this girl. Like they bought some of our drinks. My person like Venmo'd the guy.
Oh,
He's
I
like,
love
I got this. Then after the band stopped, because they have like 4 kids all together.
Oh, wow.
And so you could tell that like they don't get out as often as we even do.
Oh,
So
Lord.
we leave the bandstand and immediately, and I know you know what this is like, Miguel. So for me, my social battery turned off.
Oh, yeah. You're like,
I powered down.
yeah.
I could not. And they're
Done.
like, why don't we go get some more drinks? And I look at my person and I go, I have to go now.
Oh,
I'm sorry. We
this is
can't
it.
stay.
This
I'm
is it.
done.
Eject.
Because also we're in the middle of Epcot. Like we got to walk back
Ugh.
to like through the Boardwalk Hotel, get an Uber, go back to our hotel. I'm like, I can't anymore. And it wasn't that late. It was like 10 o'clock.
Right.
Or maybe it wasn't even. It may have only been like 9
Probably
or 9:30.
earlier than that.
I'll be honest. But when you start
6:15.
drinking at like 2,
Right.
hell
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a long
me,
day.
I'm like 9:30. After I had danced my ass off and I had moonshine, I go, I gotta leave. And they're like, oh no, come to one more bar. And I'm like, I even said to the man, I go, listen, my social battery is done. I cannot do this anymore.
That's
It
way
has
to be
been
real.
a pleasure meeting you. Please look me up on Instagram. Please, like, have such a fun night.
Yes.
We're gonna go. And then I like power walked off.
Bye. Love you guys.
I felt so bad that we just really left those other couple there.
You
But
gotta
I was
know
like,
when to go. Gotta know when to fold them.
done. So we did. We made it through the Boardwalk Hotel, got an Uber, got back to the hotel, got back to our room, and then I was just like, thank Jesus. It was time to go. It was time to go. And so I feel like it was a very successful drink around the world.
Sounds like it was perfect.
Now, Scott, you were in Utah.
I went to Utah. Yeah,
Utah.
Salt Lake City. Well, I have a buddy out there. One of my buddies that I actually went to USF with, and he lives out in Salt Lake City now. So my girlfriend and I, like, we decided like a couple weeks ago, we're like, you know what? Because he invited me out. He's like, do you want to come? We'll go to Yellowstone. I was like, I don't know. He's like, come on. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Spontaneous. So my girlfriend and I bought tickets. So we flew out there and stayed at his apartment for the first night and got to kind of see what was around in Salt Lake City. Nothing really. So
wait, in Salt Lake City?
Not really. Like he was even saying this in the car as we're driving around. It's a weird city because it's a city, but there's not really much going on around. There's only a couple people on the road. There's only a couple people on the street walking. Like it's just kind of feels, it's just so calm and not much going on.
That's so interesting because
weird.
Well, what is in Salt Lake City? Like they don't
cool
have any
Mormons.
sports teams.
A lot of Mormons, yeah.
A lot of Mormons.
I mean, because I've heard over the past few years that the gay scene there is thriving.
Like Salt Lake.
Oh no,
surprisingly,
legit.
Surprisingly,
I said it immediately as we got there. Saw so many like rainbow flags all around, people with shirts, and I was like, hell yeah, because I had my like pride shirt for the Miguel and Holly shirt. And I was just like, okay, like cool, but it seemed like it was everywhere. I was like, Utah, you go Utah.
Surprisingly, you would think with because I had a really good friend growing up who was Mormon.
Yeah.
When he came out, and it was like a big ordeal. And they're not too keen on the gay.
Right.
So I was shocked because I have a friend from college actually that lives there, and he loves it.
Yeah.
Loves it there.
I could see, like, now that I went, like, I see that now. Like, it makes sense to me. I didn't know that going into it, but after going there, I was like, what an inclusive city. Like, the people's, like, stickers and shirts and flags. I was like, this is awesome. And so for that day, we just went and got something to eat, and then we went out to, like, their nightclub, which is, like, Echo, which it looked cool. But again, it was just, we went on the dance floor, danced for a little bit. I got their crowd going for a little bit. And then we dipped because
Scott always got to be the person that's like, hey, you, come on, come dance. You over here. Come everybody, let's
somebody
dance.
needs that person.
I want people to have a good time. And I want people like, this is why I do this. And this is how I even got into this. Because it's like, I want people to like get out of their show and allow themselves to just live. Like, that's my whole passion. Is like,
I'm living on the wall.
That's what I'm telling. No, you ain't.
No.
Because you know what's happening in your heart? You're like, man, I just want to be out there, but I'm a little shy. I'm a little embarrassed. I'm like, no, I'm going to be out here looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
So you can come out here and just have fun.
Same vibes.
Yeah. So we did that. And then we knew we had to go home and like, go to bed because we had to wake up, get on the freaking road because Yellowstone was 5.5 hours away.
That's what I'm saying. I looked at a map. Like when we were in Orlando, I'm like, so Scott's in Yellowstone. And he's like, where'd they fly into? I go, Salt Lake City. He's like, that's like 6 hours away.
Yeah.
So I pulled up a map and I looked at your drive and I was like, holy shit.
But it was really cool. Like the drive is cool because my buddy who lives out there, he's one of those friends where it's like we could just, our conversations are so in depth and like it has quality to it. I need those conversations, not just like the little surface level of blah, blah, blah. No, we go in depth with things and really get to catch up and go over everything. And luckily my girlfriend actually has worked with him as well at USF. So they have a relationship. So they're talking. So the whole drive was great. And we got to go through a bunch of different states like Montana and whatever, like Wyoming and all that jazz. So
he's like all the
out yonder.
There's like one other one that I'm like forgetting, but
somewhere up there.
a state.
There's a state. But I've never, now I can, cross those off my list of like states that I've been to.
I've never been to Montana or Wyoming.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Then we got to go to Old Faithful, which is like the big old geyser that shoots up like every 90 minutes on the freaking mark. Boom, boom,
Is
boom.
that not bizarre?
So cool. So cool.
I can't.
And it's so big. Oh, God.
Sorry,
Oh, there's
a
one.
bug in here. I'm sorry.
If
Okay.
you're listening to this, you need to go and watch the YouTube channel because just seeing Holly.
I just thought of my
Swat of
eyelashes.
blood.
So I didn't. I can see, like when it's close up, it looks like it's inside your eyeball. You will do the same thing. I'm sorry.
That was just entertaining.
Anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, that. And then we went, as we're going there, I got to have my dream come true, and I got to see a bison as we're on our way there. And it was literally like, we're going the whole way. You go into Yellowstone National Park, and it's all woodsy and beautiful. And I'm like looking everywhere. I'm like, there's no bison. And so as we're getting off this like exit ramp that's in the park, all of a sudden this little patch of grass is a bison. I'm like, out of everywhere we've been, why can't? Here it is. There's the one bison, like just chilling by itself, eating some grass, doing bison stuff. And that was the only bison I actually saw the entire trip.
Wow.
But it was still cool because I still made my trip. And so we did that. And then the next day we got in like a kayaking excursion. And so we went out with this group of like tour guides and everything. And we went around this huge lake over in Yellowstone, got to learn a lot more about the geysers and the thermos and all those things that happen in the earth.
I think that's so interesting.
It is wild what is happening with the earth. We were on the super volcano. I guess that's what it is. The super volcano. And I guess my buddy was telling me if like the super volcano erupts, like half the countries, like the whole world would be covered in ash, but like, half the US would be just gone.
Wait,
but we were on it. So the earth has, okay, I'm going to go on a bunch of different. Yeah. The super volcano over, Yellowstone, if it ever erupted, dunzo.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a super volcano at Yellowstone.
Yeah. Look
underneath?
I guess.
Is that where Old Faithful getting its heat?
I guess. I don't know. Old Faithful was like an hour and a half away from that one.
Oh.
But the lake, like you would be paddling and then there'd be bubbles at the surface. You're like, whoa. You look down and be this stream of bubbles. It's because there's a little crack in the earth and it's releasing gas and heat. And then the geysers are like, same kind of deal. Where it's like all this gas is getting built up and heated by the magma underneath. Mm-hmm. And so it eventually has to release and it comes up.
That is just
so it was cool. It was
wow,
really
we're
cool.
gonna die.
We don't think about this very often. But
We're all gonna die.
I'm sorry, two things really quick to just tangent off what you're saying.
Good.
Underneath our feet, shit is like slipping and sliding.
Oh,
There is
yeah.
magma literally under your feet right now, way down below. The
Yeah.
earth is churning and burning and doing all kind of crazy shit. Don't even think about what's in the ocean. The ocean is deeper than the tallest mountain on Earth. There's like, who even knows what the fuck is down there?
Death, aliens.
So that is all going on underneath. Up in space, do you know how small we are?
Yeah.
Like it is bajillion-y,
Exactly.
this big, and we're just floating around hoping that nothing else happens to crash into our shit. The fact that we're even alive on this rock is insane.
It's a blessing, so bless up. It's a good day to be alive. Because anything could go wrong. But it was a realization when you're out there. You're like, oh my God. Like, you're on literally like the 2 plates.
Yes.
And they have like, I guess you was telling us they have like, what is it? Like 1,000 earthquakes a year, something like that. Maybe more. They only feel a couple of them.
Yeah.
But it's constantly shifting. But that's what it is. Like these little
plates.
The plate tectonics?
Yeah. All those kind of plates. And so they like, different spots like shift around. And so they'll have new little I don't know, I can't remember. Something like that. Let's call it a geyser just for the heck of it. But they shift around. And so just the whole land over there is just phenomenal. And they had these little tracks that you had to walk on to go to like a geyser. Because if you stepped off, all that land right there, you could just break through and be in boiling water. What? And people have.
What?
The tour guides were telling us like how many people die in Yellowstone a year because they're just doing stupid shit.
What?
Like some people, like if you step off the path, we didn't know until after we already got off the path. My buddy accidentally stepped off it to get out of the way of people. But coming back, we just read the sign. It's like, don't step off the path because again, you could just break through because it'd just be this little thin layer of whatever. And then you could be in. Yeah, and you could be in this 200-degree water. That's what it is. It's like
do you
steam
just
and
die
everything.
instantly at that point?
No,
or is it a slow, painful death?
Slow, painful.
yeah.
Like you could survive it, but again, like if you don't get out, your skin will just fall off.
Think about like the hottest time you got in the shower by accident and you didn't realize. You're like, ah!
Or like when you burn yourself on like boiling water.
Yes.
And at first, your brain, it goes so fast you can't even register it. And
Right.
it almost feels cold.
Right.
Because your brain's like, what? And then it's like, you might as well rip your finger off.
Right. But then your body's
It's
just
your body.
like, oh, I'm dead.
People have fallen in. Yeah, and that's why they literally have paths that they have to continuously move, and they're all made out of wood because all these little pots and stuff, they move. So you got to move with it. And so people have done like that, and the tour guides are telling us how just how stupid people are when it's comes to animals over there too. With I want to get a selfie with a bison, or oh look, a cute bear cub.
Yeah.
Well, by a bear cub, here comes So
Mama bear.
every year, numbers of people die in Yellowstone.
Got so stressed out. Or you've heard about the people that try to get the perfect selfie and they fall off a fucking mountain.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. On my Instagram, the picture that I have that's right next to the edge, there was actually a section that was a little further where it's like it wasn't no fence. Like it was a little like it looked like a thumb of land, and like right under, like if you go over the edge, you're done. This kid is like, we're
No.
about to take a picture.
No.
He's like running up to the edge and stopping.
No.
And I'm like, what the? Wow!
Like, do
Where
you
the
want to die?
parents?
Like,
They're right there. Like, no parents aren't stopping. I'm like,
are they
you
like,
kidding?
oh my God, it's so cute. Look,
Yeah,
he's
and
on
the parents like
edge.
looking over the edge too. I'm like, oh my God. Like if you just sneeze wrong, you're done. You're done.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why people have a death wish sometimes. Like, why do people want to
no.
constantly
I don't think they have
get
a death
up
wish.
to the death? Because I
Because
mean,
why
you
are they
know
taking
it's dangerous.
selfies?
Well,
Like,
you know it's dangerous. Like, why would you let your fucking kid run up on the side of an
Well, what
edge of a
happened is the
cliff?
kid, like my girlfriend freaked out because I guess the kid was like sent and like he started to wobble for a second. He lost his balance.
I can't.
And so that's when my girlfriend was like, ah, and I was like, oh, ah. I thought he was gonna fall off the cliff.
Oh,
And so we literally left. We're like, if he's gonna fall, I don't want to see it.
No.
I don't. That's gonna ruin my
no.
trip, and I don't want to ruin my trip.
That's why I did not like I think I was about 12-ish. Maybe I was 10. I might have been 10 when my family, my mom and my stepdad took me and my little brother to Niagara Falls. I
Mm.
hated this trip. I liked nothing about
Oh, wow.
seeing the falls
Oh.
because I was so terrified that I would accidentally fall in or Patrick would accidentally fall in. Because
Mm.
and I don't even know if it's the same way because I have not been back since. But in like 1992 or whatever, when we went, it was like you could walk up to the falls on I think we were on the Canadian side actually.
Oh, boy.
You walk up to the falls and there's like a rail which you could lean over. Like it's not a fence. You just lean over the hole. There's that. There's the
Mm.
Niagara Falls. And then it ends. Boop, there it ends. And then there's like a little space and then there's like a grass embankment. And I'm like, a child could literally be looking and fall out of that little space in between. And
Yeah.
so I was so panicked that Patrick was going to do this because like kids run around.
Yeah,
Right.
they're dumb.
So I was just trying to save him from falling down Niagara Falls. And like then we went and saw like they have like films and stuff where like Native Americans, like this girl didn't want to marry somebody their dad wanted her to marry. She like steered her canoe down Niagara Falls.
Ah.
People would go over in a barrel and I was just
Oh, yeah.
dying inside. So I get that same feeling of like disbelief that people would be so precarious with life,
Mm.
especially as a parent.
Right.
And I get that some parents don't really give a fuck. I guess I can wrap my brain around that, but I can't also wrap my brain
You're
around
like,
that.
and I can. I can, but I cannot. I cannot. That just
Like,
makes
I'm
no
even
sense
over
to me.
here like I'm like, she's 8. Hold my hand while we cross Beach Drive in St. Pete because there's cars.
right.
What?
I don't know. I was confused too because the parents are just again like we looked over and they're all just looking over. We're like, it's like the section where it's like you don't need to be over there. Like you don't need to be over in that section, but they were.
Wow.
I guess people don't have a sense of wanting to live.
Or they don't
Just-
care, or they don't
Well,
think
it's-
about
I
the
think it's just
danger.
that over. Yeah, they don't think that
That
they're
there's-
invincible. Like
Right.
Maybe it's
nothing will
that.
go wrong. Like
Right.
my kid
That.
won't trip and
Well,
fall
they're-
over, but he almost did.
Right, because I think people think they're like, well, I mean, this is a tourist spot, so clearly it's safe, so it's fine. And it's like,
Nope.
you're on the edge of a cliff.
Get a video of it.
Stop
That's
it.
why, and I'm like that. These people that take selfies, I'm like, was it that worth it for the gram that now you're dead? Like, okay, so your angle wasn't that great, and I'm not like speaking ill of them. I'm just wondering why on earth someone would not think to themselves, I could fall right now.
Mm.
And it's like you want to be like, in your whole life that you've learned things, you didn't think that this was I
Freaks me
don't
out.
like it. I don't like
All right, we gotta go. I got a phone call. I gotta
Oh.
get to.
Oh, sorry. We didn't even get to your weekend.
That's all right. It was my birthday brunch.
That's exciting. That's a lot of stuff to talk about.
It's fun. We'll get to it later.
Good.
I got to go though. Scott, what's your social media information?
At Scott Tavlin, SCOTTAVLIN.
Halle.
Radio Holly on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Mine is Miguel Fuller. MIGUELFULLER. And if you want some Miguel and Holly stickers, you can send me an email with your address, Miguel at hot1015tampabay.com. I got a few more left if you want a sticker. Also, I believe tomorrow, the 9th of September, is the last day to vote for Creative Loafing's
Oh my God, I
Best
haven't
of
posted
the
anything about it.
Bay.
I haven't posted anything either.
I haven't either. It's fine. There are so many
Hopefully
things
we
going on in the world. I'm like,
it'd be nice if we
I'm just
did.
grateful to be nominated.
Yeah,
Same.
it's
I
fine.
remember we're in the same category on Twitter as Tom Brady. So you know what?
That's true.
It's a win.
That's true. So if you'd like to vote for us as Best Local Podcast, Best Local Morning Show, we're all nominated for Best Personality to Follow on Twitter. Scott, Best Up and Coming Radio Personality.
Yeah.
So please vote. You have until I think midnight on the 9th of September 2021. All right, we are out of here, and we will see you next time. Bye.